We'll be starting in just a few moments, everybody. Cool, Reef. Hope you enjoy it. Where is my mouse cursor? All right, 1 second, guys. I just have to change one quick thing. Sometimes when you alt tab into this game, it can cause issues with the mouse, like where it actually, oh God, what a terrible screen. Okay. Amateur hour over here. The stream is about to start, taking up 3/4 of the screen, but not the whole screen. Okay. I haven't used that command in so long. Okay, but why is it not? All right, that should look good. Cool. All right. Boom, 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 boom. All right. Just getting situated here. Indeed, Anaris, indeed. Hello, everybody. It's the Historical Gamer once again, and today we're returning after a long hiatus. Not only have I not posted a video on YouTube in over a week, but I haven't streamed in like 2 or 3 weeks, maybe longer. We had a 2-week stretch where we had a family vacation, and then we had a family reunion. And so my life has been busy, to say the least, not to mention a lot of work stuff going on at the same time. So just finally getting out from underneath all of it and hopefully returning to making content more regularly. With that being said, we are returning to Skychart Airline Executive here in this video. Now, if you're watching it live, we'll probably play for about an hour and then switch over to Task Force Admiral. But yeah, in terms of what we're going to do here, we're returning to Skychart Airline Executive, a airline management game, sort of loosely inspired by the Aerobiz games, sort of times gone past. There's not a ton of similarities. It's a much deeper game from a financial modeling perspective, from a business management perspective, and the art is very different as well. But at least in terms of topic and sort of what the developer has as their inspiration, it comes from that. Now, we are playing the 1930 scenario, which is basically, hey, air travel's just getting started as an organized business. You finally have aircraft that are large enough to transport passengers in meaningful numbers, although still, you know, like 24 people or so. No Zeppelins that I'm aware of in this game. But it is 1930 and we are playing as Butcher Bro Airlines. We have set up 4 routes to start: Chicago to New York by way of Detroit, We have a Chicago to New Orleans by way of Memphis. And then we have a San Francisco to Las Vegas by way of Los Angeles. We also have one route pending, which is Chicago to Minneapolis by way of Milwaukee. So yeah, we'll have that one. That one's already, actually, that one's not going quite yet, is it? We're waiting on the aircraft for that one. Honestly, I wonder if it would be better to just go direct. So I had been working under the assumption that if you have a connecting flight, like if you fly from Chicago to Detroit to New York, that's a good thing, that you'll pick up passengers if you don't have a full load, but that does not seem to be the way that it's treating it. And no one likes connecting flights. So I'm thinking maybe it makes more sense to just go direct with everything. If we actually take a look at our performance so far, our route performance, the New York to Chicago is 100%. It is sold out. That is a very good route, very profitable for us. And you can't go direct Chicago to New York anyway. It's 738 miles. Our plane has a max range of 500 and some odd miles. So you do need a connecting flight for that one. And New York has such a huge demand, and Chicago as well, that I think that's a route that makes sense. Chicago to New Orleans also apparently makes sense right now. 65% load. That seems high, but that is what it is. And San Francisco to Vegas is 29%. But I do wonder if we'd be better off going direct. So having a LA to San Francisco and an LA to Vegas, maybe that would be better. I don't know. Or maybe it would be better Chicago to Minneapolis and just cut out the, Milwaukee altogether. I'm not totally sure there. Hey, Finish, how you doing? But I guess these routes are more profitable than I remember at the end of the last video. So maybe we don't need to change that. What I would like to do, however, is I would like to open up another route here to perhaps maybe go down to Atlanta. That's another very large and sort of prosperous city. So we do have about a $1.4 million in the bank. Let's go ahead and do a new route. We will do the origin city of Chicago, and we will do Atlanta as our destination route. I do wish these boxes were better formatted. They always seem either too small or too big, depending on your monitor, and never quite like auto connect. Now the distance here is 606 miles. So this is a scenario where our current aircraft cannot fly direct. And as a result, I think we're going to stop in Nashville. It's the most economically interesting city along the way. So we'll do that. And then so as you can see, estimated monthly profit, $30,000. So we can do that. It'll have to buy slots in Nashville and Atlanta. So we have to buy 2 sets of slots, which means this will be an expensive setup at about $856,000. So that does add quite a bit of cash, or take quite a bit of cash from our coffers. You see our stock price instantly drops. I think share price is a little bit, I don't think share price in this game is speculative enough, if I'm being honest. I think it is too tied to business fundamentals, at least at this point in the game. It's very tied to like, how much cash do you have on hand? What's the actual value of your assets? There's not enough people wildly speculating about your business. But it is what it is. I would also like to do one more route here to DC, which doesn't have a huge population, but the economy 85, tourism 90. This is an ideal place to be located. And so I think we'll do a Washington to New York City route for that. So let's go ahead and do, because we already have a license in New York City, and we can go to DC. It's actually not a very long route. And it'll only cost us about 400 grand, which I actually have just enough money for. And it looks like it'll be profitable because New York is so valuable of a city. Still leaves us about 114,000 in cash. I think most of these also we have got to order more aircraft, but I'd rather expand rapidly to all the lucrative markets than miss out on stuff because we're too slow. Toronto doesn't have any landing slots, do they? Also, oh, it does have one. What if we do Chicago to Toronto then maybe? I don't know if we're going to like overstack Chicago, but I'm actually going to need to take out some debt here. So let's do that. Let's go. We could issue bonds, which would have a higher interest rate, and would be, bonds are separate from your bank loans. Coupon is locked at issue. So bond issues stay cheap. Refinance an old one when the market drops. 3.9% interest rate is not a bad amount. It leaves us with $3,000 a month. If I were to go to the Corporate loan rate, though, only a 1% rate. Although I guess that's variable, maybe. I'm not totally sure. I'd still rather take that line of credit. So we'll take 500K there. And maybe we fly... We could either do Detroit, which has a decent population, to Toronto. Or we could do Chicago to Toronto. Chicago does have a lot of air routes coming out of it. But I think Chicago to Toronto would be a more valuable route. So we'll do that. Well, that says 20,000. What if we do Detroit? What's the estimated there? No, Chicago, much more valuable. And we don't need to do a connecting flight. All right. That leaves me with just 64K left in the bank, so we will leave that money in our coffers. We do have a number of these routes are not ready, so we've got 4 airplanes that are on order right now. 3 of them are ready in 1 month, and then 1 in 2 months. So Chicago to Toronto won't open for 2 months. New York to Washington, Chicago to Atlanta, and Chicago to Minneapolis will all open in 1 month. So it's always good to take debt. Okay. Loans are better. Yeah. Are they really? Were they Ford? I didn't know Ford made... I mean, I know they made bombers in World War II, but I never would have thought, you know, like Boeing. They changed the names on most of the aircraft. I'm assuming they don't have licenses, and that's why. So you can go to aircraft catalog here. You've got the JU-52. You've got the Bearing 247. The Bearing 247, I believe, is a Boeing. So I guess the Ford Trimotor is a Ford aircraft. With that being said, one other quick thing just to call out. It doesn't show here, I don't think. If we go to the Boeing 247, I don't know where it shows that. There's a place where it should show it. But we do have an investment in the Boeing 247, which will give us 5 of those aircraft in about 3 years at a discount because we were sort of a opening customer. I'm not sure where. I thought it showed an aircraft on order, but it doesn't seem to do that. So anyway, let's go ahead and get started. We've got our little hub around Chicago. We really should invest in a hub, but that's another $1 million that I don't have. And then we've got our 1 route out west. I don't know if there's a penalty for having like a orphan route way far away from your actual other locations, but it would be interesting if there was. I'm assuming hubs just add to like efficiency and things like that. Having a Toronto or Tokyo to Osaka route would be a good idea as well. So if we can get enough cash, we may open up a Japanese branch to our airline. Although that does seem a little ahistorical for us to be like here and then just 1 route in Japan. But it's not like anyone has transatlantic aircraft at the moment. So you can see our cash is sparking upwards. Sparking upwards? That's not a phrase. Yeah, I did pay to be an exclusive launch partner. I'm pretty sure there's a place you can see it. I've seen them on order while you're waiting. It's just a question of where. Fleet? No. I know I've seen it. Oh, we can see a weekly schedule. Maybe I should be buying used aircraft out of the hangar. Those would be considerably cheaper. These guys all aren't flying yet, so they're in the red. 120%? How is that route 120%? Maybe we should change the price on that. But yeah, you can see our cash is moving upwards a little bit. You want to connect each city to a minimum of 3 other cities? Well, Chicago is definitely connected to more than 3 cities. Chicago to New Orleans, Atlanta, New York, Toronto, and Minneapolis. So certainly would be a hub there. New York is currently connected to Washington and Chicago. Increase the number of flights. Oh, I didn't. I know you could reduce them. I never thought to increase them. This song, and I don't know if you can hear it very well because I do have the gameplay audio reduced a bit, reminds me so much of like Tron Legacy, I think it was. The one that was like from a decade ago. All right, we'll increase it to 8 flights a week. I'm guessing that'll burn it out and cause maintenance needs to happen faster, but the profit definitely is worth it. Let's bump it to 9. Cool. Okay, the FIFA World Cup, the Hajj pilgrimage. Something that's negative because that route's not open yet. But you can see the profitability of the different routes sort of at the end of the month. So those are all good numbers, I'd say. It honestly, kind of the lack of the licensing names reminds me of one of my favorite games of all time is Out of the Park Baseball. And for like 20 years, they didn't have baseball licenses. So it was always like fictional team names and whatever. But people modded real stuff in till eventually they signed a deal with Major League Baseball. All right, so I need to get a little bit more cash, I think, before we look at it expanding too much further. I do wonder... Atlanta to DC would probably be too far, right? Because we'd have licenses at both of those cities. So we could do that. Assuming, but I think the route's going to be too long. Let's see. It is in range? Why would it cost so much for setup? The aircraft certainly doesn't cost that much. Although it would not be a very profitable route by the looks of it. Maybe not worth it. All right, our Minneapolis route is now open. I don't know, DPRK. I don't know if you can add more planes to a route. Maybe. This game seems to have every little bit of depth, so it's certainly plausible. All right, so Chicago to New York is at 100% on the 9 routes. It is 103,000. That is keeping the business afloat. New York to DC, Chicago to Minneapolis, and Chicago to New Orleans are all above 40%. I think those are all very healthy route figures. We'll see if they grow with time. Chicago to Atlanta, a little bit lower at 30%, and San Francisco to Vegas is at 25%. One other thing we may want to consider is doing some advertising. So we can go into the corporate bank area here and we can do advertising or service quality. So right now our reputation is 64, pretty decent, but service quality going high quality is pretty expensive. It's $100,000 a month. Medium advertising is not, though. 50K is not that much. It does give us a 15% global demand modifier. So I suppose we could do that. I'm assuming that's just a general ad budget across all the country. So I think that would probably be worth it. You played about a dozen hours, Hauser. I know, Hauser, you were a really big Aerobiz Supersonic fan back in the or was it Supersonic or just regular Aerobiz? I don't know why my chat's not auto scrolling, so I'm a little behind on some of this. Hey, Super Cheese. Yeah, check it out, man. All right, so let's see here. Just kind of waiting for the next quarterly result. I'm very curious to see what our market share is with a rapid expansion across new routes. I'm hopeful, although the AI is continuing to expand, I'm hopeful that we will begin to see a swing in our market share from around 40% to a bit higher in the next quarter. There is one other airline that is primarily based out of New York, so they get a lot of traffic just because of that hub. But you can see our cash flow, it looks pretty solid. Our stock is up to $2. It was $3 when we started this stream. Have they opened anything overseas? No one is Japan to Osaka yet. I feel like that would be a really lucrative route. I just don't know what is it silly if I go just have one route in Japan? I need for this particular scenario in the game, I do need to operate in 3 regions, so I do need an international presence. I feel like starting a Japan branch would be a good route to go. 600,000. I don't have enough cash for that. So you know what that means? Hello, bank. I need a little more money. Don't worry, debt's good. All right, it does increase the interest rate a bit as we take more debt out. Do I have to close and go back in? Osaka Airport opens in 1939. No airport there yet. Pick another city or wait for it to be built. Really? Huh. Okay. So the city's there, but the airport isn't. Got it. Nagoya would be a good route. Hopefully they have an airport. Yep, there we go. We got a Japan branch open, or will be opened here soon. Also gives me my second region, which is a key goal of this particular scenario. Fukuoka. I do want to do 3 routes out of Tokyo if I can. I might be overly aggressive in expanding. Really? It's too far? Just barely? Well, shoot. Just too far. What if we try... Oh, because I don't have a... We could stop at Nagoya, I guess. It'd still be 100K short in cash. Okay. Let's just wait for that to open up. Now, where are we at aircraft on order? We've got 1 of the 28 that are being produced this year. My understanding with new aircraft, also based on, I think it was in the tutorial, but maybe it was a tool tip, is that aircraft, when they first come online, their production is like, I think, limited, and then it scales up over like 5 years or something like that before they sort of reach equilibrium. I think that's my understanding. All right. Bunch of things popped up. So that's a quarterly. Oktoberfest. Well, too bad I'm not in Germany. All right, so what did our last quarter look like? Q3. Gangbusters, I say. All right, so let's take a look here. Let's put on our spectacles. $764,000 in revenue. That is a huge jump. $238,000 in operating expenses. Fuel hasn't really changed, but obviously as you get more routes and more planes, OPEX goes up. We did have aircraft procurement equaling $260,000. So in terms of our like actual run rate, if everything stayed the same, the next quarter, if we bought no additional aircraft, would be and we also have 65,000 in aircraft on order. But ignoring the on order, If we just kept these numbers equal, I don't know why this is blue. We'd have over $500,000 in quarterly profit, which would be pretty impressive, I think. Share price is down 50%, so the stockholders might not be thrilled about that, but you can see here our net profit trend is tremendous, and I would think shareholders would probably get more excited. They'd be like, all right, we know you didn't do as well this quarter as you could have, but if we look at these trends, shareholders love trend lines. They'd be like, hey, that looks good. Let me speculate wildly and give you $500 a share. Okay. So market share, yes, we saw our market share skyrocket this quarter. We went above 50%. We're up to 55%. Butcher Bro Airlines keeping folks in the fight and keeping Americans connected by flying all over the country, at least the Midwest. We're primarily a Midwest airline with a little bit of an Eastern wing. Meanwhile, there is nobody operating in East Asia and just a single airline, Nippon Skyways, operating in Western Europe. They did acquire the one other airline that had been in Western Europe, but that airline is now gone. Okay, so we're sitting on about 400 grand in cash. I hate debt, but debt's good for businesses, right? So I guess we'll just let that be. 2 months before our Japan office opens. I think I might have enough cash now to do Tokyo to Fukuoka with a stop in Nagoya. Oh God. I thought I was typing on a city and instead I had a bunch of tooltips apparently. Why do I need 204,000 more in cash? I didn't need it before I added a stop. Oh, I did. I just didn't see it. Okay. How expensive is that slot? I guess I need 2 of them. We could do Hiroshima. No, but we've got a slot in Nagoya, so why wouldn't I use that? That's 148. So 148 should be... That doesn't make sense. If I had 148, how much is the airplane going to cost? Or is it a cost for shipping it overseas? I don't know. Does frequency affect demand? I think so. It seems to. At least the longer routes go on, the worse they tend to perform. New York, you can see slip down a bit, down to 91%. Profitability drop pretty heavily. You can see New York to DC is declining. Chicago to Atlanta is declining. These other routes are all kind of stagnating. I'm assuming red means that's not a good load number. Like, yes, you're profitable, but you could probably be better off investing other places. The thing is, right now, when I only have so many licenses to go around, you know. I did notice that it uses Godot when the game started up. Seems to be a game engine that's growing in some popularity. All right. We could pay back one of our loans now too if we wanted. I don't think that would be the right use of our cash though. Right now we're paying 2% interest, which is about 20 grand. If we paid off half of that and it dropped to 10 grand, I don't know that that would really, like a 10 grand better, you know, margin. I don't know that that would really matter right now. I think it's better to try and expand. The Great Depression deepens. The Wall Street crisis of 1929 triggered a decade-long global economic collapse. With unemployment reaching 25% in the United States, banks failed and trade collapsed. Discretionary spending on travel vanished almost entirely. Well, apparently we've been in the middle of the depression since the game started, but now we get a negative 40% demand hit as it deepens for the next 2 years. So that's great. I guess before we invest anything, let's see what happens. Wow, our cash is still going up, but oh, look at how that slowed down. New York's is down to 50%, so let's cut back on the routes. All right, we're going to cut the routes by a third. So it increases the profitability month every time you cut a route. I've definitely got too many routes for 20% being full. So we'll slash our operating expenses here a bit. I don't really know what Nagoya is going to look like. It just opened. We'll see. I wonder if there's a variability in demand by nation due to the Great Depression. Because it's not like the Great Depression affected everywhere equally. Okay. All right, so I made those changes. Also, even though it says it's unpaused, when you're in those menu windows, it does seem like you're not actually unpaused. You're paused. Everything kind of freezes. All right, we can speed things up a little bit. I don't want to spend a bunch of cash until the situation with our routes is a little bit more clear. I think we may wait till the end of the quarter. I'm going a little bit more conservative now. It does seem like the cash is flowing pretty freely, although we'll see what that end of month operation expense will do to us. So we lose about 70 grand for the month end. And it looks like we should clear that back. So we should still be profitable if I'm estimating here. We're third through the month, we're 30,000 back up. So it should be slightly profitable, not dramatically, probably not enough to fund too much expansion, but should still be profitable. We should probably do a St. Louis route. It's a question of where we want to fly to St. Louis from. Why did the time seem to slow down? All right, quarterly result. Net profit still pretty damn strong, pardon my language, in the fourth quarter here, compared to Q1, Q2. We didn't spend a lot on new aircraft, though. So 443,000 revenue. I think that's down by about 300,000. Expenses didn't change a whole lot, even though we scaled way back on the flights. And we didn't buy any new planes. So there's that. If we take a look at market share, ours slipped 10% from 55 to 45. So our competitor got back ahead. And we are the only airline operating in East Asia with a 14,000 a month revenue trigger there. Share price up 18%. Stable growth, maintained operation costs within parameters. Recommend further hub investments. London, New York, Paris, Tokyo, each plus 10% for 1 month. Holiday travel rush. Okay. So I guess that's good for our New York flights. Atlanta's a big city, but I don't know that we get directly from St. Louis to Atlanta. Let's see what a new route there would look like. It does have the range. I don't understand why I would need 500,000 more in cash. Why is this so expensive? It doesn't give me a breakdown, but it's just a $50,000, $60,000 plane. We only need slots in St. Louis, so why is this so expensive to stand up? I mean, I know I need new pilots and new crew, but I don't remember a single US-based route being so expensive to start in the previous ones, unless it's some sort of scaling thing. Honestly, in that case, I think I'd rather invest in Chicago as a hub. We could also buy to lock out our rivals. That feels a little rent-seeky. So make it our hub. I'm doing the regular 1930 scenario. All right, so do I really want to take more debt? Not really. We could issue some stock. I'm sure our shareholders wouldn't like that. But I need 500 grand in cash. How many shares are outstanding right now? A million. Huh. Let's wait. Let's wait. I don't need to piss investors off quite yet. Why should... Oh, New York's got the holiday demand. I was like, why does it look like that? So you can see the decline with the Great Depression deepening. You can see it kind of bounced back up this month. Chicago to New Orleans is interestingly very successful in December. I know there's Mardi Gras and... Is there someone flying like just... Someone is flying between New York and Newark? What maniac? I think it's flying on to Philadelphia as well. I forgot about Philadelphia. Holy shit. I don't think we can do Chicago to Philadelphia, but that could be a good route. The East Coast routes are so valuable in this period. I think we might have ticked over into the negative for once we factor in our fixed costs at the end of every month. Maybe not. Maybe not quite yet. I hate to like wait out the Great Depression, but money is going up pretty slowly, and I've already got $1 million in debt. The soundtrack is great, Super Cheese. I think Boston has one. No, they have 2 slots too. All right, let's just wait till the end of January. I think that'll be the next quarter, and then we can figure out what we want to do. I'll take debt if I have to. I do think a corporate hub might make the most sense, although I don't fully know how it affects things. Oh, that wasn't the end of a quarter? We got another month? New York is 68.54. Anyone open up another Asian route? Nope. Just doesn't seem like the best use of my money right now. I'm still 2 years away from getting the longer ranged airplane. I'm inclined to do... We can make Detroit a hub. Although I don't think we can get... Oh, we probably could do Detroit to Philly. Let's try that. That's obviously a... Oh my god. That's obviously a businessman's destination. I need $35,000 more. Jeez Louise. Okay. You know what? That's worth issuing stock for. $102,000 in cash. Okay, so that's not a very profitable route, Detroit to Philly. Chicago to Philly is more profitable, but it's too far of a flight. Wow, so if we add Detroit, it gets way more profitable? Okay, so maybe adding flat stops does actually give you a multiplier. But to do an extra stop, I need more Why do I need more? It's because it's a longer flight. Oh, it's a new plane. I don't want that. I don't want that plane at all. Why am I don't want the JU-52. Why did that plane... Are they no longer selling the... The Ford Trimotor? It says it's in flight. It says there's 20 available. Yeah, but the range is only relevant if I'm trying to do a non-stop, which I don't actually want to do. Or maybe I should. I don't know. There we go. Ford Trimotor. That is way more profitable than going with the JU-52, but I still am short 92 grand in cash. All right, so we got 200 grand more in cash. Okay, here we go. $20,000. That's a pretty profitable route. So we'll do that. My stock tanks. Sorry, guys. So Chicago to Philly, Chicago to New York. Detroit's our connector. Have I used the advisor? Nah, not really. I've looked at demand planning or things like that. Anyway, cash seems to be doing a bit better now. You can see the cash is, well, maybe it's just because I've got a smaller denominator. We've got 2 routes over 50% load. Chicago to Toronto is not doing well. Gonna cut back on some lower performing routes. Okay. Okay. All right, so profitability is down in Q1. Share price collapsed 62%, but we did issue 100,000 new shares. Flight revenue 421,000, 234 in operating costs, and then 65K in aircraft orders. Market share rebounded slightly from 45 to 48%. Reputation's almost to 70%. I think we've got 3 more months until that. Why 3 months? That's a long time to wait. My rivals are buying the JU-52, by the way. I'm going to skip that aircraft. It does have better capacity, but none of my routes are close to maxed out. And with the Boeing 247 coming here in about a year and a half, I think it's just better to stick with the Ford Trimotor. But we'll see. We'll see if that's a good strategy or not. While we wait for this, let's check one thing here real quick. Okay. Brewers are winning 2-1 on the Angels. That's good news. Hopefully they get some more insurance runs. I know that. Whoa! Look at all of these aircraft orders. Are these all new routes because they can fly longer now? Those are obviously AI driven routes. We only have one aircraft there. I'm guessing that's to the Ju-52 aircraft they're going to be receiving. I kind of was also using a little bit of a blocking strategy where I thought if I took all of these sort of routes to the south of New York, like DC, Philly, Tokyo, Osaka each get, well, okay. Osaka doesn't get anything though because Osaka doesn't have an airport. Thought I would block them given the limited range of aircraft. I mean, they could jump me and go to Richmond or Virginia Beach for sure. Oh, they connected to Cleveland. The bastards are breaking into the Midwest. I don't have enough cash to do anything right now. I guess I could take more debt, but... Cleveland is awesome. What do you mean in game? Why did all the cities turn blue? Is it reputation? Oh, it's reputation related, isn't it? Because our reputation just jumped over 70. So people must like us. All right, second quarter, much more profitable than the last. You can see it jump back up to the second best quarter we've had in the last 6. 231,000 in profitability. Our market share increased yet again to 50.5%. We have not yet hit the JU Scourge. That may happen now. Looks like the order times all disappeared, so that may be starting now. We'll see how that affects our profitability yet. We are not yet out of the 24-month major decrease in demand due to the Great Depression deepening. New York's back up to 76% though load. So that's a good number. Okay. Pittsburgh's another unsung hero. Right down here. I wonder if the different eras have different city sizes. Certainly in the later times that should matter. I feel like this is Milwaukee's present day population though. They don't? Okay. Good to know. Okay, so we're doing a little bit better profitability wise. A little bit of a waiting game unless I want to take out a bunch more debt. The bad guys are connected to Pittsburgh and Cleveland though. They're also connected to Buffalo and Montreal, so they really are strengthening in the East. I'm a little bit more spread out. I may want to try and change that. Vegas has 400,000 people in my game, Hauser. I think when I get my new airplane, if I can, I'm going to government subsidies. What is this? What's the offer though? Southeast Asia offers 500,000 for 53 months. Maintain at least 4 routes serving Southeast Asia. So that would be a really nice contract, except for the fact that I'd have to take so much debt out to open up 4 routes, right? Because Southeast Asia is not Japan. So if I were to do that, where would I need to go? Like, open up a Ho Chi Minh City to Da Nang route? Could I do Hanoi to... So if I just want to know, I guess, what it would cost if we were to do Hanoi. I don't know why it's called Ho Chi Minh City in 1930, but so I would lose money on this route, and it's too long of a route. Well, I guess we could do the JU-52, but so that would be profitable barely, but I'd need $1 million to set up one route there. That's wild. If I was to fly Shanghai to Hong Kong, that would be too far for my current fleet, but maybe my JU-52 could do it. It could. But again, it would cost me $800,000 to set up. So it would cost me like $4 million at a minimum to get those set up, which, yes, if I'm making $500,000 a month for 53 months, I mean, that is 26 million. I mean, that is profitable beyond belief for the setup cost, but to take 4 million more in debt feels like that would be dicey. Also, I don't know if China counts as Southeast Asia in this. I don't know that I would be making anywhere near that amount on any other routes. So it's probably not worth it right now. Anyway. It feels like our airline is on solid financial footing. The AI company may be growing to some of the more lucrative East Coast routes, which is a threat for us. But we've got a nice little hub in Chicago. We probably should invest in a hub there, but that'd be $1 million more. I'd be curious, Perk, since you are the developer on the game, what's the benefit of hubs? I'm sure it's in the tutorial, but I have to scroll through that and look at that live. Hubs give you a demand modifier. Got it. All right, so Q3 was slightly more profitable than Q2. We had almost 300,000 in profit that quarter. And so things are chugging along nicely. September of 1931. We're almost to year 2 of the game. We're about a year away from our longer ranged, although slightly smaller Boeing 247, assuming it doesn't get canceled. I think that's neat that apparently you can invest in new planes and then those planes can get canceled. So that'd be interesting. With that being said, everybody, we've been going for a little bit less than an hour. I think we're going to wrap this portion of the stream up, and I'm going to switch over to Task Force Admiral. We're going to play that for a little bit. So give me one moment. We're going to make that change. I'm going to save this game. We will return to it, but not right now. Task Force Admiral has a new scenario which includes the Yamato, so we're going to go ahead and give that a look. We'll be starting in just a moment. Okay, guys, I just need to grab a drink real quick here. And so I am going to take just about a minute break, and then we will start the Task Force Admiral section of the stream. All right. Holy shit. Oh, I misread that. Never mind. Sorry. Pardon my language. I just scrolled up and saw your comment finish. Mouth of a sailor. Yeah. Fair. Fair. I don't know if you're still around. All right. Hello, everybody. It's the Historical Gamer. I'm back. A little bit of a break there, but we're going to be returning to Task Force Admiral. And yeah, that's about what I got to say there. We're returning to Task Force Admiral because this game has had a new DLC, or not deal with DLC. What am I saying? This game has had a new scenario drop for this early access title, which adds the Yamato, the Imperial Japanese Navy battleship Yamato, has been added, and so we're going to go ahead and take a look at that. Which one is it? I think it's one of the midway scenarios. I think it's Kantai Kessen. So as Singpack gambles his 4 available carriers to break Midway's blockade, Yamato has assembled the combined fleet for the decisive battle, bring relief to Midway, and give the Japanese Navy a bloody nose in the process. Midway blockade? So obviously this is hypothetical. Complexity max, difficulty max, It's June 14th, so it's about a week later. Does it give us a write-up or any explanation to what's actually going on here? It does. We shouldn't have listened to Washington. As SINCPAC failed to convince high command of the immediate danger Midway faced, our analysts and commanders were taken by surprise by the large enemy force that showed up at Midway Island on June 4th. Fortunately, our brave Marines were quite ready for the challenge, and after a long air and naval bombardment, the enemy landing party tried to force its way ashore, only to be cut down yards from the beach. Midway's lagoon is now a crimson cocktail as hundreds of corpses float between the shore and the coral reefs. Out of frustration, the enemy has retaliated by doubling down with her horrific bombardment with all of the larger guns of its surface fleet, but to no avail. Although the place is burning from head to toe, Midway stands I don't think they had enough ground troops on Midway to make a real stand against a real effort. Wake got away because it was like a handful of destroyers, right? Anyway, valiantly against all odds, big and small, and quite desperately awaits relief. For the garrison is battered indeed and in dire need of reinforcements and supply. Long-range airdrops by B-17s operating from Oahu could only accomplish so much against fighter opposition, and the presence of light enemy forces around Midway prevented PBY operations, even at night. Faced with these odds... Wait. Light enemy forces? I'm not sure what that means. Faced with these odds, we will attempt to resupply our garrison with a fast convoy of destroyer transports carrying fresh ammo, fresh food, and fresh Marines. Ooh, we're doing the Tokyo Express, but without the slot, just like on an exposed island out in the middle of nowhere. We count on you to succeed where you previously failed. I didn't fail. Washington failed. Oh, in December? Whatever. Do not disappoint Washington and give the Pacific Fleet back some face. Our mistakes weren't without their silver lining. The extra time has allowed the USS Saratoga and a sizable escort to reach Pearl Harbor in time, bringing along a good number of new airframes. Carrier force has been reorganized under the leadership of Admiral Fletcher and Spruance and is steamed out of Pearl Harbor in good order. It's time for good payback. The plan is to have Task Force 17 sweep Midway's surroundings while Task Force 16 covers the convoy. Then Task Force 17 and 16 will join their efforts to attack the enemy main carrier force and battle line in a two-pronged effort, hopefully bringing us a decisive victory against an overextended foe. Okay. Escort the relief convoy to the shores of Midway Island by June 15th at 0400 hours at the latest. Does the time matter? You don't usually control the relief convoy type stuff, do you? You think this is based on the ending of Shattered Sword? It seems fiction, like a little bit fabricated, but you know, I'm not an expert. What do I know? What are our friendly forces? Due to the specifics of the operation, each task force happens to have a TBD squadron, USS Yorktown and Enterprise, and a TBF squadron, Saratoga and Hornet. TBD Devastator, TBF Avenger? Okay, that's cool if we get Avengers. At the same time, take into account that this discrepancy when setting up your strikes. Note that the new torpedo bomber is also an excellent long-legged, well-armed heavy fleet scout. Your forces will operate in large strategic pincer converging on Midway Island. Task Force 17 is comprised of the Yorktown and Saratoga and will strike from the north, while Task Force 16 comprises the Enterprise and Hornet and is approaching from the south. It's reasonable to believe that our large swings up north and down south might have hidden us from the enemy eyes, submarines included. Unfortunately, our relief convoy was not so lucky. It encountered submarines twice on the first half of its trek. This means that the enemy knows it's coming on its way and probably gearing up for a surface engagement. Use this situation to at your advantage without playing with the lives of our sailors and Marines. Okay. After their failed attempt, what do the Japanese have here? Until yesterday, you'd received some intel from a handful of Catalinas. Okay. A massive submarine attack has sunk the converted destroyer. Still, the latest reports are included in the map. The enemy's main carrier force made of 4 heavy carriers seems to have retreated from the outside of range of our scouts. The ships have attacked our base in the Aleutians a few days ago. So they may have 2 more carriers who went south. A hydro base? What does that mean? Float planes? Oh, that's what, yep, okay, it says it just down the route. Okay. Heavy seaplane activity. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna have to clear out the land or the surface assets and the air assets to keep our convoy safe. We have a day to do it. All right. I have a hard time seeing the Japanese operating an extended blockade at Midway with the fuel reserves that they have, but what do I know? I would never gamble with the lives of my troops. No one ever called me the butcher. That's a myth. Emoji unrelated. Where does this thing keep going black and then... All right. Okay, so it's 0400 hours. June 14th. That means we have exactly 24 hours. Let's take a look at the strategic situation. Transports must reach the little blue circle around Eastern Island. Enemy surface blockade force is here. Convoy is here. How far apart are they? That is not very far. 82 nautical miles. So the surface blockade force probably has to be a priority. At least for our southern force. I'm going to converge. Enemy carriers are refueling and cruising. I'm going to converge south on Eastern Island here. Move north here. So they definitely, since they have changed the icons since I played last. So we got some new tooltips. Great air search. SBD 3s. So this task force up north does not have the Avengers. They've got the Dauntlesses. What if we do seaplanes? Can't see very far. But you know what they can do? All right, we're just going to do it anyway. There's no harm, I don't think, in sending the seaplanes out. We'll just send them all. All of it today. Okay. That should be a pretty healthy coverage. We may not be able to see the carriers from here, but we should spot the surface task force, I would think. Okay. Can these seaplanes not go any further than that? Oh, they can when I add more planes. That's strange. Anyway, so we should definitely spot anything around Midway. Okay. All right, so now we are also going to need to do something to try and spot the enemy carriers. I think we'll have to do it from Hornet in the south. And I think we'll do it with the TBF-1 Avengers. They seem to have the better range. I hate to use like a big chunk of our Avengers, but so I'm going to spot where the enemy is. I wish I could move this clipboard. Why isn't... I thought I could click it and move it. Anyway, it's not moving. So we'll send our Avengers out. I may need a few more. That's a wide... Or I could just shrink the search arc because we've got all those... They're going to crash on me on the way back because they're going to run out of fuel, aren't they? Anyway, let's shrink the radius of the search arc. I don't think we need to be quite that wide. Because we've already got search planes all the way here. So really what we need to do is cover the gap after the range expires between those two. All right. So assuming this is remotely accurate, we should spot them. You suspect this isn't going to end well? Well, what do you know? What do you know, Adam? I never lose a battle. You can't lose if you don't admit defeat, right? You can't kill all of us. All right, so I assume the sun is not up yet since it's going to take a half hour for us to... Nope, pitch black. All right, we are going to want to get a cap up as well, especially since there's so many float planes the game has warned us that I think we will want to make sure to get a combat air patrol up. I don't usually use combat air patrols a ton, but if we really are dealing with a large number of enemy float planes, then I think each task force should have... I don't think we need flights of 3. And I'll just do them individually. I don't want to do rotations. We'll extend the range a little bit. Just a little bit to try and catch the enemy aircraft before they actually see us, maybe. We'll do, I guess, 4 hours of flight time, it looks like. So that's TF-17. Okay. All right, so we're going to set up 2 4-plane caps, 1 for each task force. Task Force 17 is a total of 131 aircraft, 52 fighters, 52 dive bombers, and 27 torpedo bombers. Task Force 16 has 143 aircraft, 52 fighters, 64 dive bombers, and 27 torpedo bombers. Half of our torpedo bombers are useful because they're Avengers, although their torpedoes are still not great. Nice. The Brewers win. Huzzah! I know that's not anything anyone here cares about, but... 20 plus heading. What are these guys doing? 20 plus just floating around west of Midway? What? Before the sun comes up? Are these based out of this island over here? But what are they? I thought the islands were just float planes. Well, I can't see shit, so I can't like scoop them. I could zoom in on the island itself and see what they might have based there. There's definitely no runway. It says it's a radar-based contact. Oh, it's dropped to +10. Maybe it's just a handful of float planes trying to find where we are. Well, we'll probably be in their search arc then. Looks like our carriers are turning into the wind to launch their handful of aircraft. Okay. Float planes are up. Combat air patrol is up. Still 20 plus. That's what it says. What on earth could they have with 20 plus? I'll scramble the fighters if I have to. Still too dark to see what they are. Can't imagine they know where we are. I suppose they could be going for the transports. I hate to get my fighters up so early, though. If we go to fleet defense, well, there's no targets for our carrier aircraft to engage. Or so it says. We'll wait another 5 minutes or so. They certainly are slow, which leads me to believe they're float planes. They may be on an attack vector for the transport convoy. Here's the challenge. If the enemy has 4 carriers and I've got to take out the surface task force before they destroy my transports, then I'm going to have to use up my aircraft attacking surface vessels while the enemy gets a free shot at my carriers. But here's a destroyer cruising in, presumably packed full of Marines. There's 1, 2. It's just the 2? No. So 1, 2. Three, 4. Oh, there's one off the wing over here. So there's what, 3 up front, then 2 more back, so at least 5 destroyers full of troops. I still can't see much. I don't think I'll be able to see the planes. Is it really 20? 20 plus? I mean, if they're float planes, maybe I can intercept them with my cap. It's really hard to see enemy aircraft in this light. Whoa. That's a different formation than I'm used to seeing. There they are, boys. God damn it. I lost them. What are they carrying? What? They're carrying torpedoes? These big guys got 2 torpedoes apiece. Fuck. We've got some float plane fighters escorting them. Whatever. All right, that's all I need to know. I've got to scramble. I don't have a choice. Do we have a threat on here? There should be a threat. I know they're not targeting me, but we can see them. They're a threat. I don't want to scramble everyone because that's too much. Do I just put another cap up? I've got to leave some fighters back in case an enemy strike comes at me. But the cap is not the way to do it, I don't think. I don't want to do a strike though, that's the thing. Am I using the right? Which task force is this again? All right, they're task force 16 first off. So wait, cap zones are limited to 4 per base. Can I put a combat air patrol from the Yorktown over the Midway Relief Force? I think that's what I should do. We'll send 18 off. I think that's the right thing to do. Or wait a minute. I just did the wrong... Lol. I did them off the Yorktown. They're Task Force 17. It should be Task Force 16. Oh no, that's the target. Never mind. But wait, Yorktown. Oh my God, this is such a mess. Yorktown is up north. 16 is in the south, which is... God damn it. I'm such a goddamn newbie on this. I have not fought like this before. Why am I not able to do a new... I'm selected on 17 over here. I'm gonna go 16. We still don't have a threat here on the southern one, though. All right. Get those boys airborne. Slowly falls off the edge of my desk, just sliding over an hour. No, 16 doesn't have a cap, I guess. Although it will have 20 aircraft now. All right, they should have plenty of time to get airborne. There go my float planes. I think we should have plenty of time. Maybe not. I don't know. Oh God. They're closing faster than I thought they would. Well, we might lose this battle real fast. Fighters are getting airborne. I should have done 10 and 10.
Romeo, red leader, enemy super. Vector 320, 70 miles. Angels 10 plus. Romeo, red leader, enemy snooper.
Those aren't snoopers, those are enemy attack aircraft.
70 miles.
Alright, our fighters should get there to interdict the attack.
320, 70 miles. Angels 10 plus.
Alright, they haven't spotted me yet. Our boys are going to intercept the front edge of the attack. They may disrupt the attack. I don't know how. I mean, they're trying to torpedo destroyers. I would think that those boys will be somewhat nimble. But we'll see. All right, let's check the fighters. Okay. We gonna dive or where are we going? I don't see anything, boys. They're searching. Pretty open sky. I would think you'd see where the bad guys are. I know they're way below you, but I guess you're not quite there yet either. So we've got a cap coming, we've got cap coverage here, but these guys are just going directly for the target, which makes sense. They won't have a lot of time to engage them. I'm hoping the enemy float plane escorts are not very effective. And I've still got 30 fighters for the cap of the actual carriers. All right, they're actually not low altitude yet, so they must not dive to attack until they spot the destroyers, so they don't know they're there yet. These guys should be freaking sitting ducks. 4-engine float planes? Give me a break. These ain't no B-17 Flying Fortresses bait. Oh shit, he's behind me? Dude. What are you doing? You'd also think that maybe some of the enemy torpedoes just get jettisoned as they try and evade. Are you crashing? Alright, well this isn't great. Holy crap! Boys! How about you stop sucking? This aircraft's crashing. Canopy's open. Pilot's out. All these guys are engaging defensive. It's just like they decided they were going to get destroyed by these enemy float plane fighters. Yeah, but a Jake isn't anywhere near as good as an A6M2, right? Thanks, Cap. Appreciate it. One of my favorite YouTubers, even if you always die. You know, there's more important things to life than death, I guess. Any of these guys, do any of you see these torpedo bombers? It's under attack by enemy aircraft. There's a float plane fighter right in front of you. You better shoot the bastard down. He's just sitting there, just asking to die. You got some hits. I can't imagine a Zero with a big ass pontoon on the bottom of the thing is going to be a very, you know, comparable to the real Zero. Well, there's flak. That means they're in range of the destroyers. At least one aircraft's in the drink down there. There's the relief task force. See if my F4 can catch up to him. Another aircraft. Looks like multiple aircraft splashing down here in the water. This guy's obviously going for a torpedo attack on this destroyer up ahead. He has not dropped his fish. Get him before he does. No! Torpedoes are away. Hard left rudder. They got him eventually. Down he goes. But after the bombs or the torpedoes are away, it's kind of doesn't matter. Unless he released early because he was under fire. Turned, he's reversing the turn. Oh no. No! Poor Marines! That's not good. Oh man, you sank so fast. Another torpedo. Ah! Oh my God. Oh no. Oh no. Okay. She looks low in the water. Doesn't say she's taking any damage. They all look low in the water. Says no damage. Maybe they're just heavily laden. So the transport group, I'm confused. Who's getting sunk? So is it the surface combat force that's getting hit? Are these guys out ahead of my... Well, I don't even know what they're doing. I don't even know who got sunk. Someone did. I'm very confused. Well, it would appear in any event that the surface transports are still alive. The Japanese definitely hit someone. Oh shit. Those can't be carriers, right? This has to be a... I don't know what this is, but I want you to launch everything you have against it. No. All right. Enterprise is going to launch everything they have against whatever this guy is. I'm really not sure who got hit. Is this a fog of war thing where I can't see all of my friendly ships? I don't know why I launched all my fighters in support of that raid. That was a panic launch. Send everything! I guess they should have a nice fat escort. I guess if it's a carrier group, maybe it'll be worthwhile. I'm guessing it's not. Something is threatening to torpedo us. There's some flak down near the water. I'm so confused about who got torpedoed. It wasn't the relief force, and it wasn't the transport force, and I don't think it was the surface task force. Unless there were two transport groups. Anyway, I'm assuming we're picking off the enemy. We are losing some fighters here, but the enemy's got one here, one here, one here, two here, so at the very least they're well, show me here. We got hit. No. It's a question mark. They don't even know what their own ships are. Could have been surface task force. That would make sense if we lost 2 or 3 destroyers out of an escort screen. They're still marked as APDs though. Well, the Manly is marked as an APD and I don't see the Manly. So they must have gotten the Manly. All right, I think the threat of the float planes is gone. We lost more fighters than I would have liked, but our fighters are still duking it out, but the enemy's at least dropped their torpedoes or been hit. Well, we lost 2 ships at least, maybe 3, but I don't know what we lost. So, can't be too bad, right? If you didn't know what it was that was sunk, it couldn't be too important. Alright, Enterprise is spotting her deck. Do we get intel on what that is? Oh, never mind. It's not carriers. 4 cruisers and 2 destroyers, huh? Okay. So blockading force, heavy cruisers. I don't want to send both carriers air wings against them then. One carrier is enough. I mean, I may not sink everything, but I gotta keep some of my boys fresh. Yeah, I'm sure. Well, they might. It said they were blockading force. I don't know how. I assume the Yamato is in here. That's kind of what they said in their PR, but. By the way, Slifix and Seatown, thank you for the resubs. A little late on that. Okay, so we're actually not sending the escorts. We're sending 32 dive bombers and 15 torpedo bombers in the strike, which I think is reasonable. I'm hoping those are my float planes returning and not enemy snoopers. Okay. I think our northern fighters have arrived to be on combat air patrol now. For the escort group. A little bit late, guys, but what you gonna do? How far apart are these guys? Are they gonna start lobbing shells at me? Probably not quite yet. Because they are still 40 nautical miles apart. Is about to engage in enemy contact. What? That's a new pop-up that I haven't seen before. Can you hear me over the audio? Why are you flying like this, dude? You're flying like you're drunk. Okay. Just a lone float plane? You know, you don't always have to do the top gun and fly right by him. You can engage the bastards. That's an option. Enterprise is just about ready to start launching aircraft. Gentlemen, start your engines. All right. Oh, got an audio glitch. Wings out. I can't hear you over the engine noises. And away they go. I will say, in this game, watching these kind of things unfold are like, this literally, if you were to get rid of this UI, if you were just to say, look at this, it's like, this looks like historical documentary footage. This kind of shit's cool. Damn tower's in the way. Oh, I can lean out? Have I always been able to do that? Let's fly through the deck. I don't think you ever have ops losses, so it would be interesting if you did. Like planes taking off, or planes crashing, taking off. Yeah, they added people on the guns. I don't think those were there before. No flight deck crew, as far as I can tell. But at least gunners. That's an interesting camera angle. Just snapping photos. This looks like a drone shot. I don't think that the strategic bombing is the best part of this game, but the visuals, sure. If you could get like a European air war view. It's just a game you want to stop playing for a little bit and watch. I'm not even controlling this camera. This is just right here. This is the game. Unidentified surface force 2 minutes ago. Where? That's not a surface force. This is a carrier force, I think. Okay, Yorktown, your aircraft can hit them, right? No, the torpedo bombers can't. What about Hornet? All right, so Hornet will go for whatever this larger task force is out this way. It says it's surface, but the location seems odd for that. What's this? That's a battleship. I don't know why the camera looks different. It's like an off angle or something. Yeah, that's a battleship, boys. Was that a Congo class? Are there two of them? Wait, did the Congo have that like half turn? Nah, I think it. Two Congo class battleships, boys. Midway really is besieged. Wait, that's a cruiser. Cruiser. I think that's a light cruiser. Two heavy cruisers, a light cruiser, I don't know what I did to get this weird camera angle. I don't hate it as like a screenshot angle, but it looks kind of weird. All right, so we got destroyer escorts, 2 battle wagons, heavy cruisers, and light cruisers. There's a 3rd heavy. Fourth heavy? Whoa, what is going on here? All right, so we see 2 battleships, 4 heavy cruisers, and a host of destroyers. So that's a thing. Jesus Christ, what is this, Leyte Gulf but years early? All right, the first attack wave is off. Hopefully there's not a lot of combat air patrol helping these guys. Better tell Lee to come up and lawn dart the thing. Oh, man. All right, the attack is heading out. Meanwhile, the boys still got their combat air patrol. Is that another task force up this way? Well, the carriers are supposed to be further out west, supposedly. I gotta blast a path. I mean, the first thing in the way are these cruisers. Probably should have just gone all out on them, because I can't really skimp on wiping these guys out. We gotta wipe them out or they won't make it through. So Enterprise's attack is going to go in a bit elongated. Okay, torpedo bombers are going in first. That's not exactly how I'd like it. I'd rather have the torpedo bombers go in second. Let the dive bombers do their damage, have the torpedo bombers mop up, but it is what it is, I suppose. Alright, they're the same task force. They're just newer intel. I don't know if these are like escorts or if they're my boys, I'm not sure. Going by the way they're taking a beeline on my boys, I suspect they're enemy. Why did the camera change? What button did I press? It's like offset, but like more cinematic. What? Alright, these updates obviously help you prevent losing sight of what's going on via fog of war, I suppose. Like in the past, one of the critiques was that you would often have groups fight and you would never be the wiser. Yeah, these guys are diving down to get into position on the cruisers. I don't like this view. Why are you torpedoing a destroyer? I think that's a destroyer. Maybe it's a cruiser. Alright, so our boys are going in scattered. They're also dropping Mark 14, so it's not really lag as so much as it is I think it's intending to be, I think it's intending to look weird. It's kind of like that off-center sort of trail camera look that a lot of footage can have. Just trying to see where these torpedoes are. Is that another new surface force? Where'd these guys all drop? He's obviously making a hard turn to avoid. Oh, there's the torpedoes. They missed off the other side of the ship. Well, they got their fish in relatively close, but they didn't do any damage. No sign of any hits so far for the torpedo bombers. Yeah, but they're the Mark 14. They're just the airdrop version. Call it what do you want. Same damn problems. Some of them anyway. Okay. No sign of any hits, not a lick. Another torpedo bombing in progress. Looks like it's going in on this cruiser. The only saving grace is there doesn't appear to be an enemy combat air patrol, and the enemy flak has been largely ineffective. Average Devastator experience. Yeah, that sounds about right. Except that they're not falling out of the sky. It's pretty cool to see the little shrapnel bursts on the water. Like, you, if you notice, when flak detonates near the water, you see all those little white splots below the flak. That's the shrapnel on the bottom half of the Listen, don't give excuses to the Avenger, Adam. If the Japanese float plane bombers could sink 2 of our destroyers. Oh! Oh! Dive bombs? I think. Yep, dive bombers are here. I didn't even stop to look how close off they were. Good hits. 2 good hits on this cruiser. You can see the bombs falling from the sky. I love the animation of the bomb explosions in this. She's a flame. She got 2 good hits. Some of these aren't very close, so it'd be nice if they're a little closer. Because you could get below water damage if a close hit. That one might have. Those were close. That one astern could too. That one is a little bit further off. Do secondary explosions happen in this game? Not saying you're wrong, I just don't know if they do. Looks like we just got the 1 cruiser, but she is sinking quickly. Her stern is already awash. Rear turret, 2nd turret, holy crap. Sinking real fast. Enemy carrier force bearing 287, 352 miles. I don't see any reports saying that the enemy has spotted me yet. Well, maybe that was a magazine detonation, because boy, did she sink fast. These guys dropped. Those guys dropped. All right, so we got at least some planes. Why did the entire camera angle change? I must have pressed a button that did something. All right, so we got 2 groups of dive bombers. So we still have 3. Oh shoot. We got a good amount of dive bombers still on the way into the target. All right. That's good because we do have more ships to sink. Did we get 2 of the cruisers? We got 1 for sure. All right, enemy carrier task force spotted up here. So we need to launch an airstrike at these guys. Saratoga brings 7 escorts. They'll be in range of the Avengers, which are up north, so that's good. Bring your dive bombers with them. Green means go. 4 carriers, 2 battleships back this way. Do I sacrifice the possibility of getting a good strike in on these guys first? I guess that's the question. Do I split the attack? It's 600 nautical miles. I can't do that. All right. Why are they out of range? Give me a break. Okay, 34 dive bombers plus the other 17. Okay. Enemy must be launching a strike themselves. Maybe. Well, there's no sign of a strike being launched. This is the Alaska Force. This is the Junyo. It's not the Kitabutai. Why is the something's glitchy? Great. I just launched all my northern force against a light carrier and a fleet carrier. Well, that's great. Whatever, the other guys are out of range, so it's kind of a moot point. My southern force already has launched all their planes. There are 2 more battleships with this group. The Congo. I don't get these camera. I don't ever recall. I don't know what I pushed. Must have pushed something to get like a trail cam or something. Well, anyway. Congo. I probably missed my other dive bombers going in too because I was clicking around like a maniac. Or are these two guys still going in? Still got bombs. All right, we're going trail. God damn it. I hate the clicking. Don't send me down to the floor. No one ever wanted to go see the ocean surface from 15,000 feet when I'm clicking on something else. Alright guys, they're down there. I can see them. You want to turn and get them? We got to take care of these guys before the APDs get in range. Okay. There we got 2 columns of 3, 6 aircraft coming in, 6,000 pound bombs. Down we go, down the chute. There's the target, heavy cruiser down below us. We're all going. Ride the wave, boys. Just gonna try and turn away from you, but you got to adjust. You got to keep on the target. Two on either side, 2 more on either side. God damn it. I don't think we got a single hit on her. I don't think I'm going to clear these guys out of the way before... We got a water line hit by one of those near misses. Alright, we're gonna bomb now with this last group. Getting everybody motion sickness trying to follow it with this camera. Well, I guess one hit on the previous ship. Maybe we can finish him off a bit. Do a little more. Do a little bit of damage to the heart. Or we're gonna dive through the clouds at some point. Can't see shit. There she is. We're coming in a midship, huh? Missed astern. That was a real close one. That one probably penetrated the hull. Still no real direct hits. 2 hull hits. I don't think that'll be good enough to sink. One of those hits looked like it's only borderline below the waterline. One more misses. Oh, we got a hit. Apparently there were at least 2 more bombers. We got 1 hit. Another near miss. I don't know that that'll be enough to sink her, but we did get 1 big 1,000-pound explosion by the looks of it. We'll see if she sinks. I don't think she will. But she might not want to engage in a surface engagement. That would leave, I think, just the 1 uninjured cruiser. We for sure saw 1 sink. Maybe another was badly damaged. I don't think another sank. But... oh shit. They've trained their guns? Unless they're using them as anti-aircraft guns, but those look like they're at max elevation. Any chance they're about to engage the surface force? Or our surface force? Okay. Well, in any event, thank you for the follow, Genzi and JS Perk, Seatown and Slifix. Thank you for the resubs. Does it say Sea Power? Thought I chose Task Force Admiral. Maybe I screwed something up. I hear gunfire. That's not good. They're engaged in a surface gunnery duel with heavy cruisers. Any chance my heavy cruisers are close enough to aid? I don't think so. And they lost half their heavy cruiser force by the looks of it, but still not good. These guys are out and going for the 3 battleships here. This is different than this group, right? They spotted our carriers in the north. Oh God. Bum, bum, bum. There she is. The gas guzzler. Less fuel economy than a 1960s American muscle car. More firepower than it made sense. Insufficient fire control for the weapons on board. The one, the only Imperial Japanese Navy Yamato. Look at that wide body. Where's John Wayne when you need him? I'm sure with a heavy cruiser and sacrificing his son in a torpedo boat attack, he can not sink the Yamato, but drive her back. In harm's way reference. Honestly, In Harm's Way might be the best, like, one of the best representation of surface combat. Pacific War surface combat, anyway. You've got Sink the Bismarck, which has some of that, and the Graf Spee movie, but those were historical films. I think it's a little different. All right. It's raining. You guys see that on the screen? Oh. Was I not paying attention? Did they launch a strike on me? Lol. Yeah. Okay. Task Force 17. It's gonna be too late, but I'm assuming these are float planes we're dealing with right now. Were their decks already spotted? Or were these... No, these are the attack on the carrier, so they hadn't fully gotten everybody off yet. Okay. Well, I'm definitely not going to get anybody scrambled then. Well, now that everything's just coming up Japan, probably cooked. I think we're cooked, boys. I don't know if the Junyo group is big enough to hurt me, but if they know I'm here, then surely the Kitabutai back here knows I'm here. And they've launched their own massive strike, I would think. Where are the carriers? Zoom out. It says it right behind him. I don't see anything. Oh yeah, well they haven't launched yet. But they're definitely prepping a strike for me. So even if I survive the Junyo strike, I'm going to be getting a 4-carrier task force probably hitting me. I got the best damn ground around and they're hitting me with 1 brigade. Lovely. I know that's different war. My boys are going out against the enemy light carrier task force in the north. That's got to be more than. Oh, it says that. Oh, it must have been the distance the float plane was, because they're still well out of range. Not sure it matters though. 2 heavy cruisers against my destroyers. Actually, we're down to 1 destroyer. Where is she? Yeah. You see that hole right there? This is surface warfare gone wrong, boys. The Calhoun listing. We're down to 3 APDs in the transport force. Yeah. Should have sent everything at those cruisers. Even then, it might not have been enough. Well, we're going to lose this war. Not this war, but we're going to lose this battle. For sure. It's a question of how badly the enemy carriers hurt us. I think I might have gotten some of my scrambled aircraft out. We also do have a cap. It's a small cap, but there is a cap. Yep. God, I like this camera angle at the start, but not anymore. Alright, we're diving down. These guys are already at torpedo range altitude. We might shoot a bunch of them down, but it'll be after they drop their fish. Like, don't zoom in so much. Wolf always wins. He knows what he's doing. Alright, that low flak is always a bad sign. Means there's torpedo bombers there. Maybe one of them got shot down. Oh, there's 3 over there. Those are my fighters scrambling. I don't know. We're all gonna die. There's an enemy aircraft in the water. Well, we're turning hard. I don't see the fish. Great. Torpedoes to port and starboard. That means they succeeded in an anvil attack, presumably. We need to see the fish. Oh, there they are. Yeah, those are going to hit. Kind of see them right here and right here. The third one over here. Yep. Rip. It's gonna be ugly. One in front of the bow, one in front of the bridge, one behind. Textbook and another one behind. 3 fish, all hit.
Enemy aircraft hit. He's going down. Enemy aircraft hit. He's going down.
Oh shit! They crashed right off the side of the ship. Well, Junyo's boys are covering themselves in glory. Sarah might be a tough ship, but 3 torpedoes all at once. That's gonna be tough to come back from. Dive bombers coming in. You can see the angle on the anti-aircraft has changed. It's shooting much more vertically. We'll try and keep both carriers in our line of sight for this attack. I don't think he was trying to kamikaze. Battlecruiser hull. I don't know, man. Some of the battleships didn't last very long. She's got a, I mean, she's turning hard, but she's also got a pretty big list right now.
Romeo, red leader, located. Sector 310, 30 miles. Angels
I would have thought they would have dropped by now. I don't think that's us shooting at the torpedo bombers on the way out. I think airplanes flying overhead right now. I don't know where they are, but it seems like they're directly above us. I see flak going straight up. More or less. I don't think that could have been their whole attack. We're still flinging the flak up there. Saratoga has medium damage with medium propulsion damage and light flooding. Not bad.
Enemy bomber shot down.
I don't know, maybe our fighters are taking care of their bombers. Maybe they don't have enough escort. Flight operations are closed on the Saratoga, even if she's not too badly hurt. Of course, this is probably all academic because we also have almost 200 aircraft coming in on us from oh, there's a hit. There's the dive bombing. A lot of near misses might be penetrating the hull too. But definitely at least one bomb hit on the corner of the thing.
Enemy aircraft hit. Keep going now. Enemy bomber shot down.
Well, that's not good. I let you out of my sight for 1 second and you got how many bomb holes? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 at least. Good job, Yorktown. All right, guys, I've been streaming for almost 3 hours. I know we're middle battle, but I am going to wrap this stream up here.
Angels 10 plus.
I hope you did enjoy this stream. Returning to Task Force Admiral while we also played what? What? The enemy fleet disengaged? Strategic defeat, tactical draw. Although at another time we might have commended your tenacity to preserve your forces, unfortunately this lack of decisiveness has cost us and our Australian allies dearly. As the enemy revels over the corpses of Port Moresby. Okay, this is not the right battle. This is not a write-up about. So what happened here? We destroyed 2 cruisers, the Suzuki and Mikuma. 3 ships were damaged. Have the designated allied units reach their objective before time runs out? Failure. All of our APDs were destroyed, which is why the game ended, I guess. Manly, Blue, Ralph, Talbot, Calhoun, Little, Gregory, McKinn, Yorktown, Saratoga damaged. We only lost 10 aircraft. The enemy lost a lot more than that, but doesn't really matter. I mean, if the battle had continued, we were cruising for a bruising. But TFA is just like, hey man, you lost all the ships with the Marines on them too. Didn't tell us how many Marines died there. So, but hey, the enemy lost more aircraft. Now we just teleported away. We're just like, all right, get the chronosphere going and we'll get them all out of there so they can't lose any more ships. Or spin up the FTL drives so we can get out of here. So, I don't know that I'll show this stream on YouTube. I may play again. We'll see. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed Task Force Admiral and Skychart Airline Executive. First stream in a while. About a 3-hour break, or three week break, I think. But pretty good showing on Twitch tonight. Over 90 of you came out. Oh, 90 concurrents, that is. More than that. And pretty decent on YouTube as well. So thanks again for coming out, guys. I hope you guys did enjoy the stream. We will make it so that it's not quite so long again next time. Until next time, this is the Historical Gamer saying once again, thank you very much for watching. Until next time, I'm out. Bye-bye.